There's a particular moment in life when something within you breaks open. It could be a betrayal, a heartbreaking loss, or perhaps a situation where someone wrongs you in ways you never anticipated. And in that very moment, your mind undergoes an instant reaction. You start to think about seeking revenge, about making things right, about exacting even the smallest form of justice. Yet in reality, that raw impulse doesn't seem as powerful as it initially appears. It seems almost as though you're fighting a war within yourself, as if you're struggling to find a balance between the power of your actions and their potential consequences. But in reality, that reaction is not as invigorating as it initially feels. It appears to be a manifestation of control. It feels like an intrusive force of strength, yet it truly marks the very beginning of something much deeper. Because the instant you shift your focus towards revenge, you cease focusing on the future, and you begin to live fully within the past. Most people misunderstand revenge completely. They think it is action. They think it is justice. They think it is power. But revenge is not power. It is repetition. It is your mind replaying the same emotional wound over and over again, trying to find a different ending, even though the ending already happened. You imagine conversations. You imagine winning arguments. You imagine proving your worth. You imagine them regretting it. But none of this changes what actually happened. It only keeps you emotionally inside it. And the more you think about it, the deeper the loop becomes, because your brain does not distinguish between real action and imagined repetition. So every thought of revenge is another moment you stay stuck. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote something in his private journal that cuts through centuries of human emotion and ego. He wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." At first glance, most people misunderstand this. They reduce it to something simple, something shallow. They think it means ignore people, or be the bigger person, or take the high road. But that is not what he meant. Not even close. What he meant is far more powerful. Do not allow someone else's behavior, no matter how toxic, no matter how unfair, no matter how painful, to become the blueprint for your own character. Because the moment you become obsessed with revenge, you stop thinking clearly. You stop acting intentionally. You stop building your future, and instead you begin reacting emotionally, reacting impulsively, reacting in ways that slowly reshape who you are. You start mirroring the very thing you claim to hate. Their anger becomes your anger. Their chaos becomes your chaos. Their instability becomes your instability. And without realizing it, you begin to lose yourself in the process of trying to get back at them. That is the hidden trap. Revenge doesn't just target the other person. It transforms the person seeking it. And most people only realize this when they are already too far gone to recognize who they used to be. Anger is deceptive. It rarely announces itself as something dangerous. At first, it feels justified, even clean, even necessary, like a form of protection, like something that is helping you stay strong. But anger does not stay in one place. It spreads, slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. It begins in your thoughts, then it moves into your habits, then it enters your daily behavior.
And before long,
it starts touching everything. Your sleep becomes lighter. Your focus becomes unstable. Your patience becomes shorter. Things that never used to bother you suddenly feel irritating. People who did nothing wrong start receiving your emotional overflow. And without realizing it, your entire internal environment begins to shift. Not in one dramatic moment, but in small fragments. A little less patience here, a little less focus there, a little less discipline when no one is watching. And over time, the cost becomes undeniable, because anger does not just replay the past.
it steals the present.
It removes your attention from the only moment where your life actually changes, right now. And if it is left unchecked long enough, you eventually wake up one day and realize something uncomfortable. You have been physically present in your life, but mentally stuck in a version of the past that no longer exists. Consider the weight of history. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire at its absolute peak, the most powerful position in the known world. No one could question his authority. No one could restrict his decisions. If he wanted revenge, it would not be difficult. It would be effortless. But instead of becoming reactive, he became reflective. Instead of being ruled by emotion, he studied it. Instead of chasing external validation or revenge, he turned inward. He wrote. He observed. He disciplined his mind, because he understood something most people never fully grasp. Power without emotional control is not power. It is instability. If someone else can control your anger, they control your behavior. If they control your behavior, they control your outcomes. And if they control your outcomes, then you are not truly in control of your life. No matter your status, no matter your wealth, no matter your authority, you are not free if your peace can be taken by another person's words. That is the real definition of weakness. And Stoicism teaches the opposite. Not control over others, but complete control over the self. Because true power is not domination. True power is internal stability, a mind that cannot be shaken. Even when everything around it tries to provoke reaction, there is a moment in every person's life where everything slows down, not externally, but internally. A quiet, heavy crossroads where the noise of emotion fades, and you are left alone with your thoughts. In that moment, only two paths become visible. Do I continue reacting to what happened? Do I let the past dictate the emotions of my present? Do I allow old pain to continue shaping my decisions? Or do I finally choose something different? Do I step away from the cycle? Do I build something new from what was broken? Because both paths exist, and both feel real. But only one leads forward. The other feels like movement. But it is not. It is repetition. It is replaying the same emotional loop over and over again. That is what revenge does. It convinces you that you are progressing, while keeping you anchored to the same moment that hurt you. It keeps the wound active. It keeps the memory alive. It keeps your identity attached to something that should have been left behind. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop evolving. You start circling. You begin to live mentally inside a version of yourself that only exists in response to pain. But growth demands something completely different. Growth is not reactive. It is reconstructive. It forces you to step out of the identity of the wounded version of yourself and into something stronger, something intentional, something built, not broken. It requires you to leave behind the ruins, even if you still remember what they looked like. Because you cannot build a future while emotionally occupying the past. At some point, the cycle has to break. At some point, you have to stop asking questions like, how do I get them back? How do I make them feel what I felt? How do I restore balance through revenge? And instead, you begin asking a different question entirely. A question that changes direction, not emotion. How do I move so far forward that none of this defines me anymore? How do I become someone whose life is no longer reachable by this level of pain? How do I elevate so much that the past loses access to me completely? That is the turning point. Not when the pain disappears, but when it no longer decides your direction. That is where real transformation begins. 2,000 years ago, a man born into slavery discovered something that even emperors struggled to understand. His name was Epictetus. And despite having almost everything in the external world taken from him, he discovered something that could never be taken away, a form of freedom that exists inside the mind. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." At first, this sounds simple, almost too simple, but most powerful truths are. because what he was really pointing to was not just advice. It was a complete redefinition of control. Most people live their entire lives believing they are being controlled by external events, by people, by circumstances, by timing, by luck, by the past. But Stoicism begins with one uncomfortable realization. Most of what you are trying to control was never under your control to begin with. Think about it honestly. Can you control what people say about you? Can you control how someone behaves when they are angry? Can you control the past? Can you control whether life goes according to your plan?
No.
And yet people spend years fighting these exact things, replaying conversations, rewriting imaginary outcomes, arguing with reality in their own mind, reliving moments they cannot change, and the result is always the same. Frustration, anxiety, anger, not because life is unfair, but because their attention is placed on things they cannot influence. Stoicism redirects that attention. It draws a clear line between what belongs to you and what does not. You do not control the world, but you do control your response to it. You do not control people, but you control your actions. You do not control the past, but you control what you become after it. That is the real separation. That is where power actually exists, not in controlling everything, but in mastering the small territory that is truly yours. Your mind, your discipline, your character. We are conditioned by stories, movies, and even culture to believe that revenge brings closure. That if someone hurts you, and you hurt them back, something inside you will finally feel balanced again. Like the equation has been solved, like the debt has been paid. But reality does not work like that. Even when revenge succeeds, even when you win, even when you prove your point and stand over the situation with pride, there is still something missing. A quiet emptiness that does not disappear with victory. Because revenge does not heal the original wound. It only redirects your attention away from it for a short time. It gives you a moment of satisfaction, a temporary sense of control, a brief illusion of justice. But underneath that moment, the emotional damage remains untouched. Still there, still unresolved, still part of you. And that is why revenge is never final. It does not close chapters. It keeps rewriting them. Every thought about retaliation keeps the situation alive in your mind. Every replay of what happened keeps you emotionally attached to it. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to build your identity around something that already happened in the past. That is the real cost. Not what you do to them, but what it keeps doing to you. Because while you are focused on proving something, you are also delaying your own healing. You are delaying your own growth. You are delaying the life that could have been built if your energy was directed forward instead of backward. And eventually, when the anger fades, when the noise becomes silence again, you are left facing the same truth. Nothing external has changed the internal emptiness, because revenge was never designed to fill it. It only distracts from it. Seneca once wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." At first this sounds simple, almost too simple to matter. But its power lies in what it prevents, because anger is not just an emotion. It is a reaction system. It demands immediate output, immediate speech, immediate action, immediate consequence. It tries to push you into movement before thought can catch up. And that is where people lose control. Not in what they feel, but in how quickly they act on what they feel. But when you introduce delay, even a small one, you break the chain. You create distance between emotion and decision. And in that distance, clarity begins to return. You stop reacting from impulse and start responding from awareness. You begin to see consequences instead of just emotions. And suddenly, what felt urgent moments ago no longer feels necessary. That is the shift. Not suppression, not denial, but control. The ability to let emotion exist without letting it drive your actions. And when you master that space between feeling and reacting, you are no longer predictable. You are no longer reactive. You are no longer controlled by external triggers. You become grounded,
Stable. Intentional.
and that is where real discipline begins. One day, you will think about everything that happened, not because it still hurts, but because it once did. And the strange thing is, you will feel nothing. No anger, no desire for revenge, no emotional weight attached to it anymore. Just distance, just clarity, just stillness. And you will realize something important in that moment. You did not erase the past. You outgrew it. You did not defeat the situation. You transcended it, step by step, decision by decision, choice by choice. You built a version of yourself that no longer belongs to that pain, a version that no longer reacts to old wounds, a version that is no longer controlled by what happened back then. And when you reach that point, you understand the truth clearly. The best revenge was never about the other person. It was never about proving anything. It was never about making them see your worth. It was about becoming someone who no longer needs revenge at all. Because at that level, their actions no longer define your direction. Their memory no longer controls your emotions. And your peace is no longer negotiable. That is the real victory. Silent, complete, permanent.